Showtime from Showtime Shredder over here. Size, growth, get big. Alright, kind of dark over here. You can't see any striations in the bicep, and who cares, right? I'm not competing for any shows. Okay, still rehabbing the knee. Doesn't fucking matter what I'm doing, right? Here's my point. Here's something I really want to emphasize because I've been through it myself, okay? Self-defense. I don't care what level you're at, right? You could be victimized at any time. You could be a decrepit old man at some time. You could be, king of the jungle in your youth, and then you get to be an old man, and you either hire protection or you learn to defend for yourself, right? Most people are gonna have to learn to defend for themselves. You with me? All right. So if you're a littler guy, if you're a gal, if you're a kid, any fucking body, you could be outnumbered, outgunned, outmanned. You're going to be in adversity sometimes. And if the shit hits the fan, you do the very best you can to get the fuck out of there, get to safe ground, and regroup, and just go from there, right? And you want to use that exactly for what it is. Self-defense. Not an ego boost, not a show-off thing, not an intimidation thing, okay? In fact, the way I like to see it, you gotta be careful though. Because sometimes it backfires. Sometimes you're too nice and they get more mean, right? And they push harder. You got to kind of see if you're diffusing by being nice or if you're throwing gasoline on a fire by being nice. Usually it's the other way around. The more you come off with this bravado image and the more you get pissed off like you want some of this, you want to get in the shit, that's usually throwing the gasoline on the fire. So you got to read your opponent, right? And try to diffuse them so there is no fight. You don't freaking know what's going to happen, He may get lucky on you, hurt you real bad, and you don't need that. And worse yet, you might win, lose, or draw. You might both go to jail. So you really want to make sure it is 100% self-defense, and there's no other option. You back away, you try to walk away, you try to diffuse. You want to turn your back on them, right? If you do, keep peripheral vision so that you can turn around. Superman punch, front kick, shin kick. Punch in the face, double, depends on, your strategy. If you're a bigger guy with, wrestling and MMA moves, you might know how to take them down, right? If you don't know how to wrestle, which you can fight on your feet, you better not fucking go to the ground. So know your strengths and weaknesses, and it's not an if but when theory so that you can act on that. And here's the main reason, guys, for, being very careful in picking your battles, because here's how it can backfire you in a horrible way. I had this buddy, right? We go out to eat, okay, and we're talking about high school and all these other things, and this kid, even before high school, he's junior high school, somewhere in there, right? He's old man now, he's even older than I am, but we're sitting there reading, and he's talking about how this kid was always in his grill, just being a jackass, chingy and all this stuff. Wanted a piece of him, and he's finally like, all right, you want to do this, let's do this. And so they threw down, right? Beat the crap out of the kid. He just defended himself. Well, I was all excited, yeah, all right, but as the story progresses, it's not an all right. So they're at the school, right? There's some kind of a luncheon thing or assembly, I don't know. Okay, but this guy's dad's there, right? And he comes up to my friend, he says, all right, I heard you, but you must be the guy that, beat the crap out of my kid. I was like, yeah, and he's like, all right. And then come to find out, so a few days go by, a few weeks, now, all of a sudden, this kid is up from the ceiling with a noose around his neck, right? Hung himself. And why'd he do that? Was he publicly humiliated? That's what my friend thought in the beginning. So what did he do? He did his research, did his investigation. So thing that turned out was kid was a good kid. He wasn't even a bully. What it was he traumatized. His dad was a piece of shit, and he doesn't deserve to be here. Somebody should have run a stake in his heart, or cut off his head and threw it down the stairs, because he's like I said, he's a waste of time and space. Beat his son daily, and for the trauma and the anger and the rage, he took that trauma out on my friend because he didn't know how to release it. He had nobody to talk to. The only person that he looked for trust and respect and protection was one of the worst human beings to ever live and deserved to die. And so he killed himself. And that piece of shit continued to live. I don't know where he is, or who he is, what he's doing. I haven't seen my friend in a long time. I don't know how to get hold of him. But if the Lord puts me in graces where I can talk to him again, I'm going to see if maybe I can pay this guy a visit, talk to him a little bit. He's an older guy, right? If he's still alive, he's not dead. So he's probably 96 in a wheelchair. I ain't got no problem throwing a 96-year-old in a wheelchair down a flight of stairs for killing his kid. Fuck that guy, right? I make an exception to that code. Don't hit women, don't hit old people. You have a lot of respect for the elderly and stuff, and for women, for children. But you break that code, and there is a time and a place. Now I don't know the guy, so I'm talking a lot of shit right now. Dude's probably dead. It's for entertainment purposes only. But you see where I'm going with this, okay? You see where my viewpoints are, and why you should pick your battles. Okay, there's a reason for doing it. I'm not being negative at all. Okay, I'm just trying to see some things clearly before they happen. Because of this story, I called it. We were watching that 13 Reasons. I'm like, man, that kid he has some punishment coming to him. He's a bad guy, but either he's evil and deserves to die, but he's a high school kid, so he's either wired wrong, okay, like a Jeffrey Dahmer, or or what's that guy called that killed all these people around here, Ted Bundy, okay. He's either a whack job like that, or his dad might be a piece of shit. His dad might beat him up, and I was blessed with a really good dad. He's as good as they can get. So I named my son after Cliff. Okay, I named my son after my dad, because he's one of the best dads you could ever have. Like, if you watch a movie and you're like, fuck, I want a dad like that, I had a dad like that, okay? So when I see other people have a horrible life because they have bad parents, I'm not talking about bad parents a little bit neglectful or a little mean, or parents do the best they can and some of them are better than others. I'm not doing that. I'm talking about evil people that shouldn't be here, that beat their kids or sexually molest their kids, or just cruel every day in, day out, calling them, fat or stupid, but not here and there. I'm talking about just constantly, intentionally doing it, trying to break them down, trying to kill them spiritually, trying to get their own kids to commit suicide. Those pieces of shit, that's what I'm talking about. Those people don't deserve to live. But most parents, I think, are good, or they wouldn't take on that role, right? I just get a little bent around the edges when it happens. And the problem with this, we have the best, probably, judicial system in the world, but unfortunately, it protects bad guys. Because this should be just a no-brainer. If somebody's beyond the shadow of a doubt, you got all the evidence, the confession, the videotape, everything else, of somebody who rapes women and children, or do these horrific types of things, just should automatically be, a bullet in the head if we're going to be nice about it. We do it with dogs, right? If a dog bites a kid, doesn't even break the skin, it's a humane thing to do, to give them a nice little shot. It's not harmful to them, other than it kills them, but they will suffer, right? It's the humane thing to do. However, I was going to use a really bad terminology, but I've already kind of overstepped my bounds. Destroys a child, okay? Destroys them. Not just physically, but spiritually, mentally, emotionally, everything, okay? Ruins his life, or hers, okay? And we put this person in a facility, and we give them 3 meals a day, and yard, and medical, and all this other stuff, education. Why do we do that? Why don't we kill this guy on the spot, right? I've got my own code, so I know I'm going to piss off all the liberals. I'm okay with that. Sometimes liberals will rub me the wrong way. I'm not putting a label on all liberals, because there's different. It's like there's different types of bodybuilders, but there are some liberals that will get. There's the same thing with right-wing people, right? There's some that are non-judgmental. There's others that are very judgmental. So there's nothing wrong with having an opinion. But if I sit here and we have this conversation and you're like, no, Showtime, that's wrong, you shouldn't kill people even if they're bad, I'm going to listen to you and I'm going to maybe agree with some things. But I get some people that are just crazy. They'll be like, my way is the only way, and What the fuck are you to only be the only, there's billions of people in the planet, you're the one with the fucking opinion, right? Just food for thought there. Some people are very arrogant to think that they're the most important person in the world. And you should have some self-esteem and, you know, maybe a little bit of confidence or arrogant, but to think that you're better than everybody else in the world because you're the only person with an opinion that matters. You get off your high horse a little bit. I'll still listen to you. I'll probably find you fascinating, but I'm finding it a little weird that you're not able to put yourself into somebody else's shoes and maybe not have another opinion other than your own. But people are people. That's what makes the world go around. That makes this existence a phenomenon and fun and exciting and fascinating and interesting. Except for the few cases like I was talking about earlier in the video where they can destroy some of those purities in the world, right? We trip out on something like Nate Diaz, who takes this arm, and should he fight or not fight? It's like a lot worse things going on in the world than if he might have a SARM that might give him a tiny bit of benefit or not. You know, if he is taking a lot of performance-enhancing drugs, he's taking the wrong ones. He doesn't have a spectacular build. And I'll tell you what, that motherfucker can fight. I sure don't want to fucking fight him, right? He knocked my ass out. And if I get lucky, weather the storm a little bit, I'm gonna get fucking tired, right? He's a badass. He's one of the best, and he's an expert in his field. And I think it's funny when people don't even train for a certain event. I could beat that guy. You better fucking get started. You don't even train it. How do you expect to go up against the best in the world when you're on the fucking couch? Or you're doing something completely unrelated. You're successful in something that contains no physical stamina whatsoever, or strength, or speed. You're a computer whiz. But you got the science behind it. You better apply the science or it ain't gonna work, motherfucker. Right? Am I right or am I right? Alright, it's been Showtime with Showtime Straight Fits over here. Size, growth, get big. Alright.